In these modern times, the average driver will spend over 4 years of their life in a car. And 80% of them, at some point, will experience...
Come on, man, go!
Aggressive driving. Or more commonly known as road rage.
Welcome to Fanboy to Snob. I'm Chad.
And I'm Chris.
And today, we watched a hilarious film called
Unhinged, starring Russell Crowe. It's a 2020 film. It went unnoticed because of the pandy, but I think people need to see this film because it's made from a relatively unknown director named some guy's name that Derek. It's either, I think it's Borte. It's not Bort. It's
Derek Bort.
I think it's Borte. So he was just like I don't want to say nobody, but he worked at MTV. He did some stuff for Sony, and then one
He was
day,
a music video guy.
one day he was like, "I'm gonna make fucking movies," and he made a couple movies before this. Like 4 movies before this one. But boy, was this one fun!
One of my favorite things is about this is he's like, I got Russell Crowe.
I'm gonna
Let's
use him. Like
it doesn't seem like Russell Crowe really phoned it in too much in this role. It seemed like the director's like, just have fun.
The part where he has the phone and he's laughing, I feel like Russell Crowe is having a blast playing this psychopath. So, the movie begins on a rainy night outside a house with a man sitting in a truck taking pills. Then he takes his wedding ring off, flicks them behind him, picks up a weird like one of those survival hammers with like the wrench in it, the crowbar, the hammer end, the spike on the bottom. And he just starts bashing this door down. And he walks into the house and he fucking clubs the dude in the head and just beats him to death on the floor, and then proceeds to beat the woman to death. Then he lights the place on fire and it blows up. That's the opening.
Yeah.
Solid.
Ugh, just sitting there checking his phone, no messages.
Yeah, 4:03 a.m., no messages.
You know what?
This whole movie took place in a day. Yeah.
He must have been tired.
Nice
Popping pills the whole time.
Non-stop. Oh, and this is the movie where everyone was like, why is Russell Crowe so fat now? It's like, it was for this movie. Yeah. He plays a big, fat, angry man with like a weird accent that switches from like the South to Boston.
What do you think his wife's getting divorced?
Well, I feel like he has anger issues.
Yeah.
This is like, I wish we could have watched Falling Down. And then because this is the same movie, but from different perspectives. Whereas with Falling Down, we were rooting for him the entire time.
Yeah, this guy, we're like,
you're fucked up. Like, I can't agree with that. Like,
it's okay. Yes, I agree. You're mad, but damn, bro.
Like if he had just killed the lawyer in the diner, I would have been like, okay. But the fact that he tortured him for a while with people watching while screaming at her on the phone.
Yeah. So
our main character is named Rachel, and she is a fucking loser.
Yeah, she actually does.
She sucks. Our introduction to her is her waking up to a phone call being like, what time is it? And he's like, your husband wants the house. And then she's like, ugh, whatever, I don't care. And he's like, no, fuck you. And it's her lawyer. He's like, we're going to fight this. And then the kid walks in, and she's like, how long until you're in detention? Implying that she's like already fucked up his school day. And he's like, you have a client. She's like, no, I don't. Checks her phone. Oh, fuck, I do. So like, yeah, this chick sucks.
Yeah.
And she drives like shit.
Yeah. They really emphasize on
the fact that she's just weaving.
Doesn't use blinkers, doesn't stop at stop signs.
She's that asshole that weaves on the highway.
Drives in the breakdown lane to get in front of people.
She drives on the bike pedestrian lane.
Yeah.
Like cuts in front. She goes from the breakdown lane to driving into the pedestrian lane, cutting someone off.
Ugh.
And then she gets stuck behind a truck. She decides to beep at this truck because they're sitting at a green light. And she doesn't just beep once or twice or 3 times. In fact, as she's driving by, she beeps and flips him off. What does that truck decide to do?
He follows her.
Pulls up right alongside her. And what's he say? Roll your window down. A lot of that in this movie, actually, now that I think about it. Roll your window down. So for some reason, her son rolls the fucking window down.
What did he say? You can't do
He goes, "Hey there, how you doing today?"
What's it called? The beep? Like a
Courtesy tap.
courtesy tap, yeah.
Now, I think your mother meant to do a courtesy tap. But not a... So, and he's like, "I'm having a real bad day." And then she's like, "Me too." And that's when he goes, "Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. I hope it gets better. Now, if you could just fire back an apology at me, peaches and cream."
And there was more rude stuff she was doing to him.
She was being a dick to him.
The whole time, she's like, roll the window up. Don't talk to him.
Yeah, don't talk to him. Maybe you shouldn't sit at a green light. And he's like, "You're right. Maybe I shouldn't have."
Yeah. He's like, I kind of dazed off a little bit there.
Sorry, because we know what he was popping pills, thinking about murdering his fucking ex-wife. And
so at this point, he's
trying to be cordial. I feel like this is his brain being like, well, if I can just be nice to this person, it justifies the murders. And this person is not... All he wants is an apology. And she goes, "I'm not giving you one." And he goes, "You ever have a bad day?" And she's like, and he goes, "Because I'm going to make you understand what a bad day really is." And then he puts his sunglasses on and stares at her. Oh, Russell Crowe is so fucking good in this movie. Every line he says, every facial expression, the constant sweating and the panting, and just the go-betweens between talk on the phone to, you see
Yeah, I definitely think if this movie came out not COVID times, do you think it would have been bigger? You think
I think this movie would have been. This movie is not for people who have
sensitivities.
This is not this movie. It goes from, pun intended, it goes from 0 to 60 in 20 minutes, and then it's just it's a chase movie for the rest of the movie. This guy's just chasing her, trying to fucking kill her and ruin her life.
And it's not even the fact he's not even trying to kill her; he's just trying to fuck with her.
He's trying to kill everyone she cares about, so then she's left alone. And then she goes, "Remember, I'll call the cops." Suicide by cop sounds good by me. Holy shit, this guy doesn't care. But so
after all this at the beginning happens,
they go to the school.
She drops the kid off at school,
and then she has to go get gas. So she pulls out of the school and cuts a guy off. God.
She's so bad.
She's so bad. No blinker.
So she goes to the gas station, goes inside, decides to pay. Then when she's about to leave, she looks, and who's behind her?
She goes, "I need such and such on pump number 4," and that's when she sees the truck. And that's when the lady at the cashier is like, is there a fucking problem?" And she's like, "No." "Yes." And we're like, "Yeah, you're thinking." Oh,
she did make a lot of the decisions that we were being like, she should do that.
But the entire movie, we were like, "Just go to the police station," and she just wouldn't.
Or a fire station, they're easy to spot.
Yeah. Well, they got big old axes and dogs and shit. They could fuck that guy up. So the cashier lady's like, "What's fucking up?" And she's like, "Well, I beeped at that guy in traffic and now he's following me." And then she's like, "Oh, he's got road rage." And then the guy behind her in line is like, "I'll walk with you to your car."
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, that's fine." And the guy's like, "Shut up. No, I'm going with you."
Yeah, because the whole time they're like, "Do you want us to call the police?" She's like, "No, I just might be being paranoid."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, let me walk with you to see what happens."
We forgot the scene at breakfast where the news report about the gray truck being involved with a double murder and arson, and the Freddy turns it off, and he's like, "No one needs to be watching this." And if they had just fucking watched it, they would have known. But yeah, so everybody's looking for this guy that murdered someone, and they're all looking for this gray truck, but nobody's paying attention to the fucking TV behind them that's explaining the situation because they're all too busy fucking self-absorbed, terrible people. That dude had the ring on his finger, right? The dude who helped her at the gas station, he had a wedding ring. But I guarantee, and this is just probably the guy writing the film, I bet that guy's motivation was not to protect this woman, but to get laid. Because this whole movie's about how everyone's a piece of fucking shit.
I like to think he was one of the good ones, especially since he stepped in front of the fucking...
Yeah, they walk out to the car, she pumps her gas, he's like, "I'm gonna get the guy's plates." He gets the plates. What was it? 7-Eleven? 7-Eleven?
CTX1? I don't fucking
7-Eleven TXK or something like that.
No, this guy was
why you wouldn't be a
definitely
good cop.
trying to be a good guy.
I don't think so. Because this whole movie, the intro, is all about how everyone sucks.
Yeah,
Why
this guy died.
Because he
The
sucks.
good guy died.
Also stupid. He deserved it, kind of.
Step in front of the range car.
Especially when you're looking at the guy and he's staring at her and you go, hey buddy, it'd be better if you went off. And then Russell Crowe goes.
I love that.
It just stares right at you. See the guy go, oh fuck. Rachel speeds away, so Russell goes to speed after her. That guy jumps in front of the car. Russell don't give a fuck. Hits him.
And another car just comes and
He
nails
falls
him right
across
in
the
head.
street, and as he's getting up, a fucking Honda clocks him in the skull.
The deaths in this movie are fucking brutal.
Over the top. So brutal.
I miss movies like this.
It felt like a good old fashioned like 70s, 80s ultra violence film.
Yeah.
Where like as soon as that guy gets hit by the car, the movie doesn't slow down.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting more and more. And remember at the beginning we kept turning the sound up because I was like, man, they really mixed the dialogue really low.
Everything in the beginning of the movie was really low. Then all of a sudden it just gets
Super loud and super intense, and the music is like.
I like to hope that they actually did that.
I think they did it on purpose. This is my second watch of this movie, and that was on purpose.
Yeah.
This is my second watch. All I did was watch Russell Crowe this time. I completely ignored every character
Well, to be fair, he's the only character that's like
in every
cool.
scene.
No, when they broke away to like the mother and son scenes, it's kind of like
It was the mother being dumb as shit, the son being like, don't beep at people, drive better, wake up early, and she's like, fuck you, you know? Remember the scene when they're stuck in traffic and she's like, too many cars, too many people, and she starts to get the road rage.
It's not you.
She started to get the road rage,
Yeah.
and then he talked her down. But he couldn't talk her out of beeping at Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
God damn.
So what happens after they leave the gas station?
Russell Crowe just straight up chases her. And they're driving down the highway, and or not the highway, they're like service streets. She's like going, like weaving in and out of traffic and stuff like that. And Russell Crowe's like right on her back. And then they wind up trapped, right? In some traffic. And Russell Crowe just starts ramming her car.
You're forgetting about how he had her phone too.
Oh,
She
that's
left her
right.
phone in the
So
car.
when she's getting chased, she reaches down for her phone and it's not fucking there. And she's like, what the fuck? And she took the code off her phone in a throwaway line where she says she almost got into a car accident because she was trying to unlock her phone. And the son went, that's stupid. Which is a double, like, that's stupid that you were trying to unlock your phone while driving, and that's stupid that you wouldn't have a lock on your fucking phone.
I love when Russell Crowe drives by, he just goes,
Yeah, he looks
Big
at her and he
smile.
smiles, like, kind of like points at her. He's like, you got your phone.
you dumb.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then they get stuck in the traffic and he's ramming her and she's like freaking out looking for the phone.
and
And
nobody's doing anything.
because when she looks over at the other person in the car next to her, they're on their phone. So that's a little commentary for you.
Yeah.
So she winds up fucking like a bus pulls out, she cuts behind the bus, Russell has to go around the bus, and she winds up on a one-way street freaking the fuck out and people are yelling at her. And instead of rolling down her window and went, there's that guy in the gray pickup truck just tried to fucking murder me, help me please. No, like fucking so stupid. There's so many situations in this movie where if you just grabbed a random stranger, we're like, help, then it would be 2 versus 1 instead of 1 versus 1.
Yeah. Or just, where's the police station?
Yeah.
Call the police.
I need the police, help me. So she winds up parking under an overpass, hyperventilating, like freaking the fuck out because this guy's like trying to kill her. That's when we get one of my favorite scenes, the diner scene.
Yeah.
So what happens in the diner scene?
So you have the lawyer friend. What was his name? Do you remember?
Andy, but he's one of the McPoyle twins from
So
Always
he's
Sunny.
So he's sitting there waiting. He sees, looks at his watch. Sees he's getting a little frustrated that she's late.
Because it's 20 minutes or
Rachel
20 minutes. We all have that friend.
And this is even past probably the Rachel's.
Yeah, so he's like annoyed, and guess who sits across?
In the background, all you see is Russell Crowe like looking around, being like, "That's him."
He sees the guy checking his watch. And he's
Yeah.
like, okay. So Russell Crowe sits across from him and goes, hi. And he goes, hi. And he goes, I'm a friend of Rachel's. And he's like, oh, did Rachel send you? And she's like, yeah, she's going to be a little late. She asked me to come, and I was in the area, you know.
So he was like, "Oh, you're having better luck than I am getting in touch with her."
And he's like, what's your name? And he's like, oh, I'm Todd Cooper. I just moved into town. And he's like, no way. That's great. He's like, yeah, Rachel's helping me get used to things around here. And he's like, that Rachel's such a great gal, ain't she? And he's like, oh, the best. And you see him kind of like getting frustrated, like, oh, okay. Then the guy's like, he goes, the guy, what does he say? He says something that makes the lawyer notice that something ain't right.
Mm.
He goes, so you said Rachel's getting divorced, and the lawyer goes,
I didn't say that. You said that.
you said that. And you know what my 11 o'clock will say if I'm late? And he like goes to get up to leave, and he goes, how about if I can get Rachel on the phone? He takes the coffee cup and he goes, you buy me a cup of coffee. And he goes, and what if you can't? The lawyer says,
I'll buy you
a cup of coffee. And the lawyer goes, all right, because everyone makes dumb fucking decisions in this movie. Sits down, slides the lawyer's phone across to Russell Crowe. He gets the phone call.
Yeah. He calls the burner phone,
which is hidden in Rachel's car because she's sitting there freaking out because she doesn't know what to do. And then she hears a phone vibrating, checks the glove compartment, checks her purse. It's in the center console. And she answers it and she goes, hello. And then Russell slides the phone to Andy, and Andy's like, Rachel, what's up? And she's like, Andy, how are you talking to me? What's happening? What's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm glad I could talk to you. I'm sitting here with your friend Todd Cooper. And before she can say, I don't know who that is, Russell goes, oh no, he goes, nice guy, cool beard. And Russell like slides the phone to Russell, and she's like, I don't know him. And she starts going off about how he's chased her and how he's done all that stuff. And yeah, and then he goes, oh, Rachel. And then like, what does he say? He says, now don't. And he goes, all I want is an apology. And she goes, okay, I'm fucking sorry. I'm sorry. And he goes, now, Rachel, not a bullshit apology, a real fucking apology. And that's when Andy's like, hey, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Crack with the fucking mug to the face.
That was brutal. Like,
yeah.
I want to watch how they
did that scene.
Yeah.
It was so good. So now everyone at the diner is freaking out, right? And he's like, I'm going to fucking teach you what fucking bad days are like. I'm going to kill your kid. I'm going to kill. And he just starts like, he's like, I'm going to make sure you're alone, And he's like, are you fucking the lawyer? Was your husband a hardworking man and you went around and screwed behind his back? Which is obviously what happened to him.
Think she was fucking the lawyer?
Probably. The way they talk to each other. Your best friend and free lawyer who hits you up for therapy? Come on.
Maybe he was just a really nice guy. Maybe he was gay.
He was married. And then Russell goes, like that means anything anymore. Like, I fucking love Russell's character in this movie.
I love how the tension just kind of like spiked.
Yeah. So then he wraps his hand around. Oh no, McPoyle goes for a knife, and he takes his hand calmly off the knife, and then wham, wham, wham. Everyone's still sitting there watching.
The one guy in the background with the cell phone.
Yeah, filming it. That's today, ain't it? And
I'd be so sad if I was getting beaten to death, and all I see in the corner of my eye is somebody filming it.
So then Russell puts the phone on speaker, and he puts it on the table, and he goes, Rachel, hypothetically speaking, if this was the last time you were going to talk to Andy, what would you say? And Andy's like, because by now his like nose is caved in.
Gargling.
He's all fucked up. And Russell Crowe's holding a butter knife, and he's holding Andy's head to the table. He's like, Rachel, what would you say? And she's like, don't do it. No, I don't know. I don't understand what's happening. And Russell goes, what a missed opportunity. And then just
right in the back of the neck.
Kills him.
Ugh. This movie is fucking brutal.
Yeah. Then he gets in his car and he speeds away. Then she starts getting text messages of names and addresses. And then she gets as she's dialing 911. So she doesn't get the opportunity to dial 911 because it gets interrupted. Why am I burping? Because it gets interrupted by all the text messages. And then Russell calls her while he's speeding down the highway. And he says, was Richard a bad guy? Like, was he just a hardworking dude and you fucked him over? How about I empty your fucking bank account? And he empties her bank account. What about your savings account? Empties her savings account, gives it all to Richard. And then he goes, who do you want to die next? She's like, I don't know. And he goes, I'll play Russian roulette with your phone book. I'll pick someone out of your contacts. What about your mother? What about your brother? What about this person? She goes, I picked me. And he goes, oh, no. That's not how this works. You live. Everyone else is going to die. Who dies next? Or I'll kill your son. You know, like, yeah, I like him.
He was surprisingly like a really good villain.
It's one of the best villains I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Like he just like reminded me of like a cheesy comic book villain, just like demented as fuck.
I would say comparing him to a comic book villain is an insult to his performance.
A graphic novel.
No, not even a graphic novel. That's implying he was cartoony and weird and zany. No. He was like what I assume Hannibal Lecter was like.
Maniacal.
Like well thought out, manipulative. He was trying to destroy her brain. You know, he wasn't just trying to kill her or build a blue laser to shoot for this guy. He was trying to ruin this woman's life.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll call the cops. And he's like, suicide by cops, fine with me. And it's like, okay, so you don't care.
Yeah.
You're going to ruin my life or die trying. Like, holy shit.
Definitely should have just went to the cops.
Yep. So after he kills Andy, she picks Deborah to die, who was one of her clients that fired her because she's a fuck up. And he goes, why are you picking Deborah? And she goes, because she fired me. And Russell Crowe goes,
like,
because of no fault of your own, obviously. You know, like, oh shit. So then he hangs up the phone on her and is on his way to kill Deborah. So she calls the cops and goes, I have multiple emergencies. You need to go to like bing, bang, boom right away.
Sarah, like, we're dealing with a big accident. He's like, yeah, he's the one that
No,
caused the
that's
accident.
end of the movie.
You sure?
Yes.
No.
Because we haven't even gotten to the school scene yet.
All right.
Yeah. We're still at the first half of the movie, pretty much. The second half of the movie is when she gets her kid and is driving through town.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the kid's not in the car yet. Because nothing's happened to Freddy. Because guess what? The cops show up to the school. The cops show up to Deborah's. Deborah's fine. Cuts to Freddy's house.
Which is her house, which is she should have.
Yep. And Freddy's watching the news, and he sees the footage of the lawyer getting stabbed to death. And he goes, Davos, hey, Mary, isn't that the place with the great brisket? Just not putting it together. That's where the lawyer and Rachel meet every day. He's like, Mary. And then he's watching the news, and it's something about a gray pickup truck. And he hears like a clash.
And he's like, I hope that wasn't something breakable or something stupid like that.
Yeah, I hope if you broke it, we can afford to replace it or something stupid. And he stands up and he starts walking towards where he heard the noise. And he just so happens to look out the window. He sees a gray pickup truck. And then he looks at the TV. And then it cuts to him holding a knife, walking through his house really slow, because that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah. Except I would have... I don't know if I would grab a knife.
I would grab a knife, but I wouldn't hold it blade out like he was walking around like this. I would have it blade down and clutched to my chest, walking very slowly. And if anything spooked me, I'm fucking going... I'm not going to go for the chest. I'm going to go just below it and then up.
Would you stab or would you swipe?
I would go in and up. I want to destroy your lungs. If you can't breathe, you can't hurt me. But I'd have to get below your rib cage and up.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do because Russell Crowe is a giant of a man.
Yeah, he had a lot of fat.
So Freddy walks into his bedroom and he walks all the way in and he stops and then he hears a noise, so he turns around and Russell Crowe is holding Mary by the back of her head and her she like it doesn't even resemble. Because like the chick who was playing Mary,
looks like he just pounded her.
The chick who was playing Mary was cute.
Yeah.
And then they show you this, and it's like the nose is like gone, the jaw's
hanging. It looks like he just like punched her like 10 times.
Like just held her up, because we've seen him beat the shit out of people. He just like he just probably did that until she was unconscious, and then he's walking up to Freddy going, "Do you know why this happened?" And
Freddy's like holding her like a puppet. Too.
He's like, "Do you know why this happened?" And he's like, "Because you're a fucking psycho." And he goes, "No, your sister did this. This is your sister's fault. If she was a good person, this wouldn't be happening right now." God. And then the kid's just like, just take the money, man. Just take the money. I don't want any. He's like, I don't want your money. I don't want your money. I don't care about anything. And then he throws Mary at her.
He's holding the knife out like this.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe just pushes her and stab.
And then throws her and just starts hitting Freddy. And then we cut to her driving into the school, looking at her phone, seeing a photo of Freddy duct taped to a chair unconscious, with Russell Crowe smiling, holding his head up. And she almost kills the guy pulling into the school looking at that photo. That one's justified.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, that one's justified. So she pulls into school. She gets a text because the teacher's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she's like, "You have 3 minutes to get your kid out of school or Freddy dies." And then she calls him and it's like, "That wasn't part of the deal." And he goes, "Oh yeah, sucks, huh?" Or something like that, right? He said
it was one of the best responses. Like, you really think I was gonna make a deal?
Yeah, something like that. He was like, "Really? You believed me?" Or it was a good line like that, and Russell Crowe delivered it perfectly because the character even smiled when he said it, like he was happy. He was like, "You really thought I was gonna fucking come on?"
Imagine just Russell Crowe just laughing at the whole situation he was filming. He wasn't even supposed to be in it.
It worked though. Even if he's laughing at the script and laughing at the scenes, it fucking worked. This is one of the best Russell Crowe movies I've seen in a long time, since Master and Commander and Gladiator.
I wonder what this got on Rotten Tomatoes.
Probably not good. We'll look it up later. Yeah, this is not a movie for people who don't think society's collapsing. If you think society's collapsing, this movie's perfect. But yeah, so she runs into the school and she's trying to explain to the principal that I need to get my son out of the school because look, this guy's trying to kill my brother. And she's like, "We're in a soft lockdown." And she's like, "Look!" And she's pointing at give me my fucking son.
Yeah, it has Russell Crowe's face on the TV, focus.
Yeah. She's like, "It's the same guy." And the principal's like, and it's like, "Come on." And then obviously it cuts to her and
running out with the kid.
Speeding away. And then she calls him and says, "I have my son." Now during the whole principal thing, Russell Crowe was making Freddy write a letter while dousing him in lighter fluid and telling him to hurry up, finish the letter. And then he gets the lighter. And then she calls Russell Crowe to be like, I have my kid. And he goes, "Oh, well, Freddy wants to read you something." And he starts waving the lighter. "Read the fucking letter, Freddy. Read the fucking letter."
He makes her put it on speakerphone too.
So the son can hear Freddy blaming Rachel for his death and being like, "This only happened because you're a bad person. This only happened because you're selfish and self-absorbed. This is your fault. My death is on your hands." And right as he reads that line, Russell Crowe, remember when he twisted Freddy to stare at Mary's dead body while reading the letter?
Yeah.
And then as he's reading the last line and he's about to set Freddy on fire, a cop busts in because she did send cops to the house. They were just slow for some fucking reason.
Busy with the accident.
So the cop's like, "Accident didn't happen yet." So the cop's like, "Holy shit, I got him. Put your hands in the air." He's trying to radio in for help. So Russell Crowe just lights Freddy on fire and kicks him at the cop. The cop shoots twice, hits him in the shoulder. Russell runs out of the house.
All you hear is the fucking
All we hear is the kid screaming, gunshots, and yeah.
So the little kids listen to his uncle
burning to death with gunshots and screaming and
that's definitely one of the most brutal, sadistic scenes I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Yeah. So they're driving down the highway and they're trying to come up with a plan and to distract the kid from the terribleness that happened. She's like, "Hey, remember that Fortnite plan you came up with?" And he was like, "Yeah, whatever." He was like, No, we're going to do that. We're going to go to Mom's old house, right? And we're going to get lost in the neighborhood because he won't know how to navigate it. And then we're going to hide. And the kid's like, "All right, that's a good plan." And
you feel about the whole tablet thing too.
I was getting there. So the kid was like, "How does he know where you always are?" And he was like, and she was like, "Well, I mean, I got his phone. It's got to have GPS." And the kid notices it's a flip phone. He's like, "No, that doesn't work. Where's your iPad?" And she was like, "Well, I think he stole my iPad too." And then they both realize oh, you can like geosynchronize, you can find them.
Yeah.
So that the kid starts looking around the car, finds it under the seat, and she's like, ah, shit, all right, throw it out the window. And the kid goes, no, we can find him with it. So
it was the mom who decided that.
Yeah,
she was
whatever.
like, can't we do the whole
you
find my phone thing?
Yeah. So
she gets him to look it up on the tablet.
Yeah.
And they see he's right on top of him pretty much.
He is driving right next to them. So they start looking around for the gray pickup truck. They don't fucking see it.
And then the mom looks over and sees the license plate. What did it say?
Rosie 1, which is her across the street neighbor, who she saw earlier leave, that said she was heading the opposite way.
Yeah.
So why is the van not where it's... Oh my God.
Be very quiet.
Don't look at
him.
Don't look at him, because they notice there's a cop in front of Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
So like, we're just going to roll up next to the cop. You're going to roll the window down. You're going to get the cop's attention. We're going to fucking fix this.
I still think they should have kind of ran the cop and chase him.
Had the cop like pull out his gun and shoot him for attempted murder of a police officer.
Just go and pull right
You ram
over.
a cop's car, you're trying to kill that cop. That cop's going to kill you. Chad, you don't ram cop cars. Like, what the fuck? Anyway.
That child.
Okay, and they just tried to kill someone. And the guy with the gun is the person they tried to kill. What do you think that guy with the gun's going to do?
Nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry you tried to kill me. What's your problem? No. Because keep in
If
mind,
you pull over right away, it seemed like it was an accident.
if they had gotten in front of the cop and slammed down the brakes and brake checked him, so the cop would be like, what the fuck? They'd be, that guy's trying to kill me. That would have been smart. But they pulled up next to him, they roll the window down, they're screaming at the cop to roll the windows down. He rolls his windows down and they're like, the guy you're looking for is right there. And the cop's like, what? And he's like, right there. And then Russell Crowe fucking pit maneuvers the cop. Cop spins out of control.
And all of a sudden, 18-wheel
Gets on his fucking radio, starts to call it in, and a cement truck just blows that car up. And there's blood all over the front of the cement truck.
Yeah, that was. The fucking car.
Car crashes in this movie were great.
Yeah.
So now she's like, "What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" What was the scene where the chick doing her eyes? Was that before this or after this?
I think that was during this.
Where she's speeding. Yeah, because now Russell doesn't give a fuck, and he's just hitting cars trying to chase her. And they wind up on an off ramp off the highway, and she manages to get on the off ramp, and Russell has to turn last second, and he hits this fucking little Nissan with this chick doing her eyes, and she hits the wedge, and you see her dummy go through the windshield as the car's flipping.
Don't think
dude, I've seen every chick does it, and it's like, you're just gonna die. What do you do? Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually it's gonna get you. The second you take your eyes off the road, you're putting everyone and yourself at risk. This movie was they should show this in Driver's Ed.
Yeah.
If they showed this to me in Driver's Ed, I'd be like, that was amazing, but I will never beep at anyone under any circumstance unless my life is in danger.
Just do the friendly beep. The little beep, beep, beep. And then that's what I do. I do beep, beep, and I just wave. Like, hey, you gotta go.
I wait it out.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, maybe something's happening. Maybe they're endangered.
They're in labor.
Yeah, maybe something's happening, and if I just wait behind them, I can fix it. Because also, my philosophy is, I'll get there when I get there.
Yeah.
I don't put too much stock on that bullshit.
I'm always in a rush.
Because you don't plan your life. I always give myself, if I'm 20 minutes in my mind isn't late. 20 minutes is the threshold. If you're anything past 20, you're fucked.
I don't like being anywhere on time. I like being at least 5 minutes early.
I like to be 5 minutes. I like to be either 5 minutes early, 5 minutes late. But if I'm 20 minutes late and I'm like, yo, some shit happened, you have to accept it. If I'm 21 minutes late and I'm like, yo, some shit happened.
It all depends on how often it happens.
Not very often. I've actually been getting to work before Danny. Think about that.
I worked with you for so long and you're late almost every shift.
Yeah, but that's when I didn't care and we were getting 60 hours a week and
No.
Then we lost the FCA and I was like, I gotta prove myself. Now we have the FCA again and I'm like, I didn't.
And then you just...
Yeah, and then my company died.
Talk about a bad day.
Yeah. Where were we? He lit Freddy on fire. They noticed the van. The lady crashed into the wedge. she decides to drive to her mom's neighborhood, and she waits at the last second to cut down that one way.
So he couldn't make it, so
Yeah.
she loses him a bit.
Yeah, she loses him, and she weaves in and out. And she winds up at her mom's house.
Thankfully, the tablet died, so
The tablet died, so he
anymore.
can't track her. And she parks in the driveway, and she goes, "All right, you know what to do?" And the kid's like, "I know what to do." The kid runs in the house and he grabs a flashlight and he goes hides in the crawl space. And the mom,
I forgot he set the alarm in the house and everything. Too.
so the cops would come because they think it's a B&E. So the mom leaves the car parked in the driveway like a fucking moron, and Russell Crowe finds it. And he's like driving, and then he stops and he sees it. And you can see him start to think like, all right. And he's like chewing hydrocodone, and he's eating his drugs, and you see him kind of like mulling over what he should do next. And then the car in the driveway, like in the background, guns it into the van and flips the van over, and she gets out with a golf club. She goes over to the driver's seat to, like, I assume bash his skull in.
And you think she has it, then all of a sudden
He's not there, and he just cold clocks her.
oh god, like a lot of movies like don't go too heavy on the women violence.
This movie beat the shit out of this girl.
He like kicked her in the face a bunch of times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Like, while she was in the corner of a room. All right, so he punches her in the head, and he grabs her by the hair, and he goes, "Now you're going to watch your son die," or whatever. And he goes into the house. Or no, she escapes.
Yes, she escapes and then she runs up into
the crawl space with him.
Because he knocks over a bunch of like metal things.
That was
as he's looking.
As Russell Crowe, because Russell Crowe was pretending to be a cop. He was like, "It's me, it's the police, son, come out!" And the kid's like, "No." And he wants to pick up the fire poker to use as a weapon, but he knocks over the whole set. So now you can see him like clanging, bang, freaking out. You see Russell Crowe notice the noise, and you see the crawl space door open, and you're like, "Oh shit!" But no, it's the mom.
And he screams.
Yep, and then you see behind the mom a pair of legs just walk up behind. So Russell Crowe was just casually walking behind her as she ran upstairs and like panicked.
I feel like his face was just like.
And then he grabs her by the legs, yanks her out, puts her against the wall, and just starts kicking her in the fucking head.
This is where the movie lost. There's no way she would have been able to wake up after that.
You underestimate a mother watching her child.
If I got kicked in the face 3 times like that.
You're dumb as shit, though. And listen.
If you
yes,
man.
But you don't understand. Like, mothers have been known to lift cars off their dying children.
Yeah, I guess.
There's something about, like, there's a reason the human species is still, like, our women, like, they suck and all that stuff, but you fuck with their kid, and they turn into, like, Captain America level strength. Like, they go to that extreme.
So adrenaline, it's like PCP.
There's, like, women who have, like, ripped dudes' arms off, like, while the guy's like hurting their kid. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, their brains shut off and they go full chimpanzee. Like, so, like, as soon as she heard her kid getting, because remember the kid runs up to try and help her, and Russell Crowe just crack, and, like, breaks the kid's nose. That's when she's like, yeah, that's when her brain turns off and she goes into primal mode, and she starts whacking him with the golf club, and he's fucking just beats the shit out of her. And then he fucking yanks the cord off the lamp and wraps around the kid's neck and starts choking him. And he's like, "You did this, Rachel. You did this, Rachel."
And luckily, she has the pair of
peppermint
candy
canes fucking scissors
brought up in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, and she pulls him out of her pocket and jumps in the air and fucking Spartan stabs him in the fucking eye. And then he's like on the ground, and then he gets up and she goes, "How about this for a courtesy death?" Dumbest line in the movie. Kicks him in the head. The scissors go all the way through his head. He dies.
He dies. I love that line. It's so cheap. This movie needed that at the end.
Because it was so intense.
If it was any other movie, I'd be like,
gay.
It's stupid.
But this movie was like so intense. Cheesy one-liner. Oh, okay.
It's like the cheesy 90s and 80s movies.
Yeah.
Where they always had to have that final perfect ending.
Yeah. So the cops show up, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, Freddy didn't die, but fire tied to a chair. So
he's fine. He's gonna make it.
Yeah, he'll make it, but he'll never be Freddy again." Oh, the best part of the movie is when the car flips over and Russell Crowe's standing over her after he punched her in the face. And he's like, "You're going to see my face for the rest of your life."
Yeah.
That line was awesome. Or with the therapy line. Like, so we get to the end of the movie, right? We'll start talking about our favorite scenes. We get to the end of the movie. For some reason, the cops just let them go, even though they, like, witnesses and murders and all bladder. They should be going to the hospital.
There'd be a lot of Hospital
paperwork.
to check
A
everything.
lot of paperwork to fill out.
And a lot of questioning after to see what happened.
So as they're leaving, she pulls up to a light. It's red. Turns green. She starts to hit the gas. And a car flies across, lays on the horn. She goes to hit the horn, stops, and the kid goes, "Good choice."
So I think it would have been a better ending
If it stopped just before it hit, so you didn't know what she did. Yeah. Did she learn her lesson? You know?
That should have been the real ending.
I feel like a committee was like, no, give them the happy ending. Give them the happy ending. They deserve it. That was horrible. That was 96 minutes of pure misery. Give them the happy ending.
Then we could have had Unhinged too. It's Russell Crowe's son.
Russell Crowe's brother, who looks just like him.
You're the twin, Russell Crowe. You gotta come back for this movie.
There's like 50 Unhinged movies. One comes out a year where it's just another Russell Crowe. Like, that's my cousin. That's my nephew.
I'll just look really like the one super jacked one.
Yeah,
dies super easy.
Gets hit by like a bus by accident.
What did you like the most about this movie?
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, this is definitely the Russell Crowe show.
His performance was amazing. His character was fun.
Everything else in the movie is kind of like, man. Besides for like the accident.
But yeah, the car crash, like the car crash porn, was amazing.
Yeah. Fucking poor stunt guy falling out of that car.
Yeah. Oh, that cop getting hit by that fucking cement truck was brutal.
Yeah.
I bet that clip is in the trailer, so you can totally cut that clip and put it if we want to show people. That's what Red Letter Media does, is they take trailers and they cut the clips out of the trailers.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So like type in Unhinged trailer 1, 2, and 3 and then cut clips from it.
Yeah.
Because they put the trailer out there for everyone to see. You're not stealing the intellectual property. They gave it to you for free on YouTube. So it's not like you went to the movie, paid for it, pulled out your phone, recorded it, you know?
I thought I could use longer than a minute of the trailer.
No, it's something like you can only use like 10 or 30 seconds or something like that in total overall. So like you can use a minute of the trailer, but if you go a minute over with any other footage, you've reached your threshold.
Yeah.
I think Russell Crowe standing over her after flipping the van and screaming, "You're gonna see my face," was one of my favorite parts. I think Russell Crowe beating the shit out of Andy in the diner was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I liked any scene with Russell Crowe, I was hooked. I really liked his character in the beginning where he's like, "I just want an apology."
Yeah.
And I feel like the movie would have been
besides the whole him burning the house and murdering those two people.
Yeah, but he was probably gonna go kill himself or something, you know. Yeah. But then he decided, you know what? I'm fucked anyway. Fuck you. I'm gonna make your life shitty because mine doesn't matter.
I think the main lesson you have to learn in this movie is...
when he's walking up to Freddie holding Mary, and he's like, "I worked a job. I thought I made a difference, and none of it mattered. I got injured, and they fired me. My wife left me. Nothing matters. So I figured if doing good doesn't make a difference, this is how I'm gonna make my mark." And that's when it's like, fuck it. If I can't do good, I'm gonna be the most evil motherfucker I can. Which I'm like, I love those motives.
And I guarantee you, there's probably like a very wide majority of people out there that are that close to being that person.
One of my favorite jokes is, "I'm dangerously close to blowing up a building." I'm waiting for the moment when I'm like, fuck it, time to blow up a building. I feel like I'm there. Life is good, but when things start getting really bad, I'll be like, fuck it, blowing up buildings now. Fuck it. Nothing matters. It's the truth. Like, you got a kid, your priorities are on your children. I don't have children, so like when shit gets bad, I got nothing to lose. Like, you know what I mean? And when I'm saying when shit gets bad, I mean like bad. Like we're at war with China and Russia and we're losing. Like, fuck it. Blowing up buildings, nothing matters. We're about to get nuked off the face of the earth.
Awful.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, overall, this movie taught us to
just be nice.
Be patient.
Oh,
Don't be overreactive.
Check this out, what I just read. Came out in Germany first. That's neat.